Okay.
I don't see them. Okay.
Okay. All right. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, let us begin our metta recital first. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hate or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake, is called divinely dwelling here. Not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desires for sensual pleasures, one comes never again to birth in the womb. With this metta thought, let us begin our mindfulness practice. We pay total, undivided, mindful attention to our breathing. Mindful attention is attention, pure, clean attention without greed, hatred or delusion. When we pay such attention, all we notice is the breath, air, pure as it is, clean as it is, and we focus mind on it. Notice the touch of breath at the rims of our nostrils. And then we notice our lower abdomen expanding, chest area expanding as we breathe in. When we breathe out, our lower abdomen contracts, chest area contracts, and the breath leaves the nostrils. And we repeat this inhaling and exhaling. Every time we repeat, these are the things that happen when we inhale, breath touching the nostrils, expanding lower abdomen and expanding chest area. When we breathe out, lower abdomen contracts, chest area contracts, breath leaves the nostril. This is what repeats again and again all the time. When we pay attention only, then they become clear to us. For this reason, Buddha said, Manasikara Sambhava Sabbe Dhamma. Only when one pays attention, all these phenomena becomes apparent or visible or discernible. Otherwise, we don't know. So, depending on our awareness, that they become aware to us. And then we keep paying attention to this ever-changing process without trying to control breath or manipulate breath or hold breath. Let the breath flow in and out. And then our very naive desire to hold on to anything will no longer be there. And then also the body relaxes, mind relaxes, breath relaxes. In this relaxed state of mind, our rigidity, uptightness or anger fades away. Anger or rigidity are very harmful, very stiffening experience. And when it is gone, metta feeling arises. This is very simple, universal, illimitable metta experience. And then along with that arises compassion. When compassion arises, all our restlessness and worry fades away. Sometimes we can worry about everything, almost everything, and even about suffering beings. Here we instead develop compassion, and then our mind becomes more excited or energetic, lively, and then our sleepiness and drowsiness fades away. When all this happens, we see them happening in our own experience, in us, as the nature of or character of Dhamma. They arise within us, directly visible and unaffected by time. We experience them in us. That is the nature of Dhamma. When we see this reality, we gain confidence in the truth of Dhamma, and then our doubt fades away, and then it arises joy. Consequently, when this joy increases, it turns into happiness. When the mind is happy, there will be more calm, peaceful, tranquil state that leads to concentration. When we gain concentration, it becomes a very subtle, sharp and clear awareness of subtlest changes taking place in us. We name it in one word as impermanence. When things are appearing and disappearing so quickly, impermanence can be explained only in these terms: rising and falling, rising and falling. That is the very nature and character of impermanence. We learn this from our experience, not from books, not from teachers, no other way other than then we gain even deeper awareness and gain peace and deeper comfort. We are not looking for them, but we become fully aware of non-self, not permanent entity, not I. And this we can see only when we gain deep concentration, which facilitates us to see things changing and no room for any permanent entity. So with this, let us continue our practice. dukkha pattaca nidukkha, bhaya pattaca nibbaya, nisokha, hontu sabbe pipanino. May suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. With this metta wish, let us continue our Dhamma talk. Today I want to focus the mind on the same discourse that we have started, that is Samiddhi Sutta, where we stopped at place with the stanza. He abandoned reckoning, did not assume conceit, he cut off craving here for name, and though devas and humans search for and find, or search for the what do you call devas and yes, search for him. Him here means the one who has overcome conceit. Do not assume conceit. Here and beyond, in the heavens and all abodes, they do not find the one whose knots are cut, the one who untroubled, free of longing. This is very beautiful. Paya sankang na vimana madhyaga acchechitanhang idha nama rupe tang chinna ganthang anighang nirasang pariyesamana najagamang deva manusa idhava hurangva saggesu asabhinivesanesu. What it means is the one who has given up sankang, all accumulation, cut off craving here for name and form. And that is the line I want to emphasize today. In the name and form we say, although nama rupa, it means mentality and materiality. In ordinary sense, name and form is very simple. Name is just name. Form is simple form. But in the name, according to the Buddha's teaching, there are 5 factors involved in name. They are called mentality, altogether called mentality. Mentality is, I hope you remember, contact, feeling, perception, thought, and attention. These are called characteristics, sign, symbol, designation of mentality. Then materiality has 4 elements: earth, air, water, fire. And these elements are known through their characteristics such as solidity, and liquidity or cohesion, heat and oscillation. These are the characteristics. Now in Mahanidana Sutta, Buddha says, if these characteristics of the form do not exist, the mentality cannot know the materiality if there are no these characteristics. Similarly, if mentality does not have their characteristics such as contact, feeling, perception, thought and consciousness, they cannot know the characteristics of materiality. Therefore, they are mutually supportive factors. They exist supporting each other. They are called mutually supportive factors. Now, in Mahanidana Sutta, Buddha emphasized very important part. It is to this extent that there is birth, aging, death, passing away, and re-arising. To this extent, there is pathway for designation, there is a pathway for language. To this extent that there is a pathway for description, to this extent that there is sphere for wisdom, to this extent that the round turns for describing this state of being, that is, when there is mentality, materiality together with consciousness. This passage is a very deep, it has a very deep meaning. What does it say is that we call birth. What birth expresses? Mentality and materiality together with consciousness. Then aging. What aging expresses? Materiality and consciousness. And death. What death? When we say death, death of mentality, materiality and consciousness. Meaning, you can say death of mentality, contact, feeling, perception, thought and consciousness cease when we die. Then you may ask, how come the materiality factor cease? That is only when the mentality factor together with their characteristics exist, that mentality factors can know the materiality factors. When the mentality factors are already gone, there is no way to know what the materiality factors are. And Buddha repeatedly asked Venerable Ananda, when these characteristics in the mentality factor characteristics are, as we mentioned, contact, feeling, perception, thought and volition, attention. If they are not there, completely absent, not even a sign, then materiality factor will not be discerned. Now, this is called the pathway for designation. Pathway for designation. When we designate, or when we have agent and so forth, then only we know what mentality is, what materiality is. Here, Buddha said to this, only when the mentality and materiality can express with consciousness can we know the mentality and materiality. These are, in the stanza we said, one conceives I am equal, better or worse. This is the three kinds of conceit. They are called summer and better or superior and inferior. This kind of notions will no longer be there if there are no contact, feeling, perception, thought, and attention are not there. So, when we say we die, we see, we mean that they all cease to exist. And when we say we take rebirth, re-arising, it is these factors that re-arise. What are they? Contact, feeling, perception, thought, and attention. And what you call four elements: earth, air, water, fire, hardness, then cohesion, oscillation, and heat. These are the factors that are born. So, in order to, then there has to be a consciousness. When these factors are together, we can have a designation to express this to this extent. To express these things, we have designation. For instance, we learn all sort of concepts. We call them sometimes thoughts, ideas, concepts, and so on. We learn trillions and trillions of things, and we call sometimes they are philosophy, psychology, mathematics, science, and so forth and so on. All these we cannot express if there are no form, what you call, contact, feeling, perception, thought, and volitional formations and contact. These five factors of mentality must be present to express what we learn. What we learn, it can be a language, grammar, geography, whatever, Dhamma, whatever. In order to express all these things, mentality factor must be present. And materiality factors must be present. When any of them is absent, we cannot use a language, we cannot use grammar, we cannot use etymology, roots, and so forth and so on. They don't make any sense because we cannot express them. They can express them. And when we express them, along with that, we may have a conceit that I am better. I am better, I know so much and so much and so much. I am better, I have so much and so many things. I am better because I have so many acquisitions. I am better, I have so much health, so long I live, and so forth. All these accumulated because through the contact, designation contact and impingement contact, we studied them earlier. in dependent origination discourse. Therefore, only these things exist when we do expression. Independent, I want to repeat dependent origination formula once again for everybody to remember. I think everybody knows, probably if we don't repeat it, we may forget. What is a dependent origination formula? In brief, when this is, this is. When this exists, this exists. When this is not, this is not. When this does not arise, this does not arise. These four sentences, or four pairs of sentences, dependent origination formula. So, when mentality, materiality are there, all factors belonging to mentality and materiality, only then can we express through words, language, designations, and whatever we have today, we can express them all through this, whether we are superior, equal, or inferior. We can express through these things. When mentality exists, materiality exists, we can say, I am better. Or when mentality exists, materiality exists, we can say, I am equal. We can, I am inferior. And so forth. We can express all this through mentality and materiality, together with consciousness. So, designation to this extent that there is a pathway for language. Language doesn't make any sense if mentality, materiality are not there. So language we express mentality, materiality, and consciousness. Any language, it doesn't matter what language. It can be sign language, it can be braille language, it can be anything of the most primitive pictorial language, using pictures and so on. Whatever sign we use them in order to express what we gain through mentality and materiality together with consciousness. So that means we use the language to express mentality, materiality together with consciousness to this extent. And then Buddha said, to this extent that there is a pathway for description. Whenever we describe anything, we can do that through the mentality, materiality, and consciousness. And in this description, we express, therefore, mentality and materiality and consciousness. So language is used to express these things. And then description, this to this extent, Buddha said, to this extent that there is a sphere of wisdom. When we talk about wisdom in no matter what form we use, what word we use the word wisdom to express mentality, materiality together with consciousness. Either we use, we know that, say for instance, rising and falling is called Udabhe Jnana. Jnana means knowledge or wisdom. If there is no rising and falling of contact, feeling, person, thought, and attention, or if there is no rising and falling of earth element, water element, air element, fire element, there cannot be, there cannot be a way to express our wisdom. Wisdom is rising and falling. So when mentality factor, materiality factor, along with consciousness, rising and falling, rising and rising and falling, and in order to express this rising and falling, we use our wisdom. And wisely we see that things are rising and falling and rising and falling. And to this extent, the sphere for wisdom exists. To this extent that the round turns for describing this state of beings. Round is repeated birth and death called samsara. It's called samsara vatta. Samsara vatta. Buddha said, vattam vattati. Entire samsaric existence we can express only through mentality, materiality together with consciousness. So the samsaric vata, samsaric circle, samsaric repetition. Vata means going in circle. Going circle, merry-go-round, going round, 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 round. It's called vata. This vata expresses through birth, decay, death, sorrow, and so forth, and they are through the contact, feeling, perception, thought, and attention, plus earth, water, air, fire elements, together with consciousness, we can express, we can use any language, any sign to express our samsaric repetition, the what rising and falling is the samsaric journey. So Buddha said to this extent, when there is mentality together with consciousness, a mentality, materiality together with consciousness. If the mentality and materiality do not exist, we cannot talk about samsaric circle, repetition of samsara. So, the stanza said earlier, we try to explain it. Akkeya sanyano satta, akkeya simpatitita, akkeyang aparinyaya, yogamayanti machuno. That is when we said it, beings who perceive what can be expressed become established in what can be expressed, not fully understanding what can be expressed, they come under the yoke of death. What can be expressed? What can be expressed is this samsaric repetition or circle in terms of contact, feeling, perception, thought, and attention, earth element, air element, water element, fire element, together with consciousness. These are the things that keep repeating. Birth, we call existing, we call death, we call reappearance, and this cycle, repetition, can go on and on and on, only with existence of these things. So long as we have, when mentality arises, materiality arises, consciousness arises, we call it exist. When mentality ceases, materiality ceases, consciousness ceases, we call death. So when this is dependent origination formula. When this arises, this arises. When this exists, this exists. When this does not arise, This does not arise. When this passes away, this passes away. Some people translate this formula: when this arises, that arises. Now, this arises, that arises is not correct in my view, because in Pali, both places we find imasming sati idang hoti, imasming sati idang hoti, imasa upada idang upajati, idasa nirodha idang nirodhi, imasming asati idang nahoti, ida imasa upada idang idas imasa nirodha idang nirodhyati. Every place idang, imang idang are used. So the imang idang in Pali means this and this, this and this, this and this, not this and that. So when mentality, materiality and consciousness put in one idang or one this, group of this, then birth is the other section. When mentality, materiality, consciousness exist, birth exists. When mentality, materiality, consciousness does not exist, birth does not exist. When mentality, materiality, consciousness cease to exist, birth cease to exist. And so, this is what this can be expressed. They can express means they manifest. They are clear to us, to each and every individual. Unfortunately, we got caught in it. We sunk in it, but we cannot express it because we are caught in this repetition of samsaric birth and death. We are caught in it, and therefore we cannot express it. We cannot express it because we are not aware of it. We are not aware of it because of our avidya, ignorance. So when the deity asked Venerable Samiddhi to enjoy uh, life and don't waste your time, and he could not give him satisfactory answer to the deity, came to the Buddha, and Buddha explained the meaning of time. What is now? This is what is now. Therefore, when this exists, this moment, this exists, and this does not exist forever, it is so fickle and so ephemeral, so quickly changing, and therefore we need to have wisdom to understand this. Although it is expressing within ourselves, coming to the surface, and we are not aware of it. It is coming to surface, that is, they express by themselves, even though they express very clearly, very distinctly. Because of our ignorance, we do not see this happening. This is called what is called dependent origination. When all these whole activities going on right now, they express themselves, contact, feeling, perception, thought, and attention. Uh, Four elements: earth, air, water, fire, and consciousness. They all arise and pass away instantly, right now, this moment. But only when mind is very sharp and clean and concentrated with mindfulness can we notice them. Otherwise, even though they express, they cannot. So Buddha gave a very profound discourse to this Samiddhi and deity and all of us. And then it is our duty to grasp the meaning again through our own practice, to liberate ourselves from this repetition called samsara. I think, friends, with this I want to end this morning's talk. As I said yesterday, when I was when I would explain these things, you all would fall asleep. Probably some of you may be snoring. It doesn't matter, but later on you will understand what I said. However, thank you very much for your coming and attention, and those who have been paying attention and learning, I'm sure will learn the depth of this Dhamma. Let us begin our last section, last part of this morning, that is sharing our metta with all beings. As we started, may all those who are in pain and suffering right now, this moment, may they be free from that suffering and return to their normal health and continue their practice and liberate themselves from suffering forever. And there are others who are grieving the death of their loved ones. I think they understand Dhamma to console themselves, to relieve their grief, and then return to normal life and continue their Dhamma practice and liberate themselves from this repetition of birth and death called samsara. There are many people who are still in hospitals suffering from this COVID-19 and being taken care of by very compassionate doctors, nurses, and hospital staffs, and those who give their service selflessly may live long in very good health to continue their very noble, marvelous service. And there are some others who are financially supporting all these organizations, patients, and so forth, and may they continue their wonderful, generous practice and live long in good health to continue their noble practice and liberate themselves from samsara. There are many leaders in the world who have done so far very good job, and we want to wish them that they continue this service for the benefit of the people. Other leaders who have not yet done much to see to make right decision, let them have wisdom, understanding, patience to make the right decision and help these people. With this, I want to end this morning session. Thank you very much for coming and participating.